Don't worry about me, I'm just a little sick. Let's just review some analog horror. Oh, I got one, Dreams of Insomniac. Yeah, that's a really good one. Dreams of an Insomniac is made by Pastra, and for Volume 0, there are technically 4 tapes to go over if you don't count the introduction and credits. Though to give us context, we need to go over the introduction and get a better grasp of what's going on.
Your name is Tommy Merrick. While visiting your old family home, you stumbled across a strange box of tapes in the attic. Out of curiosity, you decided to watch them on your old CRT. You think they might be haunted. While watching the tapes, you began to see and hear things that weren't meant to be there. For some reason, they felt oddly familiar to you.
Oh god. Yeah, let's begin with tape 1. The tape begins with a report about a break-in that happens at a store called Grimzo's. Quick little trivia, this store is named after a scrap character Pastra made himself. Don't believe me? Look at this video here. Anyway, Rick Graham, the store owner, explains that whoever broke in didn't even bother to steal any amount of money. The doors were smashed into pieces and shelves were hit to the point where it made a huge mess. And the only thing that went missing was the costume of that of a spooky prisoner. Not even security footage was able to catch the suspect that broke in. The tape ends with a short interview with a random person being skeptical about what happened during the incident. And the narrator of the tape warns everyone to not trust anyone with the spooky inmate costume. Well, some kid probably bumped that, and their life is probably now hell. Next tape. A report happens in Eastridge County. 6 children had disappeared, and it started happening around at the exact time of 6 p.m. and it ended an hour later at that Halloween night. Alex Williams, a witness of the crime, describes the incident of the neighbors helping a mother with a missing child. Then another parent came in with the same issue, and then another, and then another, and then it just kept continuing. Until it became nothing but chaos within Eastridge County. Police try to find the suspect and the missing children, but to no avail. The culprit is revealed from witnesses and a sketch. This isn't anything near human. The creature is wearing the prisoner outfit from before. It's best to stay away from it. Officer Kruger, however, swears up and down that the horrible kidnappings will be brought to justice. As for the residents, they must stay indoors and keep all doors and windows locked. So, what makes these kidnappings so dangerous? It's all explained in the next tape. Going back to the events of the first tape, there were photos taken by a security camera at 6 a.m. Wait a minute.
No security footage could be collected to reveal the identity of the culprit, leading many to speculate who this mysterious costume thief really is.
So that was a fucking lie.
Anyway, this is where we get the nickname for the creature, the Eastridge Demon. It's also known as the Smiling Snatcher, but I'm gonna call it the Eastridge Demon for this section. There is new information on how to survive this Eastridge Demon thanks to Officer Kruger that survived from it. To start, it knows how to make hallucinations. Because of this, all personnel must be more cautious and cannot be alone when fighting against the Eastridge Demon. Physical contact with the creature is even more dangerous as the side effects can cause
Discolored skin, severe weight loss, tightening of the skin, the fusing of bone and flesh, teeth growing where they shouldn't, and bleeding from every orifice.
Get out of my head, please. The demon knows that it is being hunted, and will always try to mislead you when you are at the most vulnerable. Next tape. The tape begins with a scene from one of the Evil Dead movies. I don't know which one, I got it from this video, plus I don't really watch Evil Dead, might watch it someday. But anyway, The tape is interrupted by an emergency alert system showing us a PSA on how to avoid the Smiling Snatcher, also known as the Easter's Demon. During the PSA, there is a character dressed as a ghost. This is something that will be coming into play later. To basically sum it all up, it's the usual instructions to survive from the Easter's Demon. Speaking of the Easter's Demon, at the end of the tape, he starts going ballistic. At least that's what I think the tape is trying to imply. Now you might think, this is the end of the tape, right? Well, there's 2 more tapes I do want to go over. Before we do though, we need to go over what the Smiling Snatcher is. Specifically, the species. This is not a monster, a devil, and sure as hell not human. It is called a Veldigun. My source for this section is by a user named Mecha, specifically about their video for Veldigun. If I didn't find this video itself would probably not be possible, so huge thanks. The link will be in the description if you want to find out more about Veldigun. Now let's begin. The Veldigun are a species that feed off the mentality of their prey. They also travel in pairs of 2. Who was Clyde traveling with? Well, it's a guy named Winfrey and he hasn't appeared in Dreams Insomniac, so I won't really say much. And yes, the Easter's Demon's real name is Clyde. When a Veldigun is hunting their said prey, they use hallucinations to confuse and lure them. They will also cause prey to induce seizures to attempt to kill them. Once they are killed, they feed off the memories, and depending on how much they consumed, they start to evolve. So, what's their evolution stages? Well, I suggest going to the video that I mentioned earlier, and you can get a better grasp of that. So now that we know about Veldigun, let's go over the next 2 tapes. We begin with a picture of Officer Kruger, then cutting to the skeptical person from the very first tape. It turns out that there were multiple takes of him talking about the incident with Grimzo's, but would always say that the situation would be a fluke. A funeral message for Officer Kruger is played next. His son, Klaus, was heard screaming in the home, and Krauser's body was found in his closet. It also came with a note. I was scrolling around the comment section of this video specifically to see what the note said, and luckily I found some people that were able to translate it. Now keep in mind, this isn't an accurate translation, but it's the best I got and what the Pastra community has. Huge thanks to all of you. Let's get this start. Stop!
To my dearest son, I know that you may be confused by everything going over the last year. It's not fair that you had to deal with it, and I'm sorry I can't be the father I meant to be to help you through it. Truth be told, your old man had a hard time processing himself. You spent so long with everything being the same that the moment that everything changes, you can't accept it. I might be wrong, I just can't. I think every day what I would have done if it were you that was taken by that thing. It chases after children, not just me. Though, does it make it every day? The key remains of why we're here. When you grow up, I hope that one day you'll be able to protect your own son, to have such a happy life. You deserve to be happy. I had no better choice. Speaking of, my father, who's a deadbeat, won't be here. I'm sorry I won't be able to give you that life, but trust me, it's live or die.
Thanks for the splitting headache. Anyway, the last line is blurred, and the note isn't exactly accurate, so it's best to take this with a grain of salt. When the message ends, red eyes look at the viewer, and we see Kruger wishing to die, and a deep voice replying that they're still having use of him. At least until later on. We all thought that he died in 1987, but in reality, he died 9 years later. It starts with some context that ECPD had received a phone call about somebody breaking into the caller's house. When police arrive, everyone who lived in that house was reported missing. The only evidence the investigation could find was a photo album and a camcorder that contained some footage of the event. The photo was already useless anyways because it was heavily distorted and couldn't be identified. Not even the neighbors were able to provide any useful information to help things make more clear. One resident even stated that nobody even lived in that house.
Why you keep using his face? Why are you doing this to me?
The suspect in question was an illusion, taking the form of a person in a ghost costume. Your scheduled programming is now over.